Hi, my name is Jessica Joy Heemstra, and I'm a Toronto writer, artist, and designer. And I've put together a little workshop that I usually give to people in person, and I thought that I could put this together for people to enjoy and do in their own homes. This is what you're here for is to write a love letter to somebody you're thinking about and care about, and make a little piece of art for them that you can send in whatever way works for you. I'm going to guide you through writing that letter, and I just want to tell you to have fun, go rogue if you want to, and let me guide you as much as you want. There will be moments in the video where you'll need to pause, so I'll hold this sign up for you. And everything you need is on my website, which is jessicaheemstra.ca. So my website is jessicaheemstra.ca, and all the materials you need are there. You don't need much. You need the biggest piece of paper you can find, an ordinary size piece of paper, something to write with, and whatever art materials you have hanging around your house. Let's get started. So you might be somebody who just wants to fast forward through this part, but I thought I'd invite you into a little bit of my own studio practice. And before I start anything, I like to do a little warm up. I like to place myself in time and space. I like to kind of exhale and arrive so I can be present when I do my work. So what I want you to do is close your eyes, and I'm going to guide you through taking 3 deep breaths. So for your first deep breath, what I'd like you to do is place your feet firmly on the floor, and you can put your hands on the table in front of you. You can put them on your heart, whatever feels comfortable, on your knees. And what I want you to do is just hold your day in your heart with all of its wonders and worries and everything, and take a deep, deep breath and just let it go. Now I want you to take another breath. I want you to think about the immediate people in your life, the people in your building, the people you love and are worried about, and then just keep expanding outwards. The people in your city, the people in your country, people in the world. And I want you to just send a wish out to them for peace. Take a deep breath all the way to the bottom of your stomach and let it out. Then I want you to take a third breath. And what I want you to do with this breath is let yourself feel gratitude for yourself, for each other, for all the people who you miss, the people who aren't here, the first people who lived in your town before you were there. And think about the people who've helped you grow. Think of your chair holding you, the table in front of you, the roof over your head, and just take a deep breath all the way to the bottom of your stomach and let it out. All right, we've warmed up our spirits. Now it's time to warm up our fingers. So I just have one piece of advice for you. Make sure that you're making this for someone who you really love, not somebody you wish you loved. It'll make it easier for you, and I think it means that person will receive it the way that you hope. So the first thing you need is you need to take out your biggest piece of paper that you could find. If the biggest piece of paper you could find was this big, that's totally fine. So just your biggest piece of paper. And put that on the table in front of you. And I'm going to get you to close your eyes again. I'm really big into closing eyes. So you need to get a whatever marker, pen, pencil you want to use. Think about your piece of paper, make sure you kind of know where all the edges are. If you're worried about going over the edges, put something under your paper so that you don't end up scribbling on your table. And I'm going to get you to fill the whole piece of paper with some prompts. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about that person that you love and hold them in your mind. And I'm going to ask you some questions about them, and I'm going to get you to respond on the piece of paper with your reaction to the questions that I ask. So I can't check if you're closing your eyes, but what I'd like you to do is close your eyes, put your pen or your marker or whatever you're writing with on your piece of paper, and answer my questions with lines instead of with words. So, and don't forget, this is just a warm-up. So, marker on the paper. What I want you to do is close your eyes and think about what that person sounds like when they laugh. And I know I'm thinking of somebody, so I'm going to do this too so you can see what mine looks like. Okay, what does that person sound like when they laugh? Okay. Keep your eyes closed if you want. Don't look at your paper if you have any self-control. The next thing I want you to do, anywhere on the paper, fill it up, is think about that person walking. And I want you to draw what that person sounds like when they walk. Okay. Next, hold their voice in your head. What does that person's voice sound like? Put that on your piece of paper. Don't worry about going over top of any lines or anything like that. Just take up room. What does that person's voice sound like? Okay. Next question. If that person was a bird, how would they fly? I just looked down at my sheet of paper and I saw that my marker is very dull. So this won't be, it's not great. Okay. Next question is, close your eyes. Pick a place on your piece of paper and draw that person's nose. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about that person's smile. And I don't want you to draw that smile. What I want you to do is I want you to draw what that smile feels like to you. Okay, I've got 3 more questions for you. What does that person do when they're happy? I want you to draw the motion of that person's happiness. Okay? Draw the last thing you remember that person wearing. You can tell that this person was wearing plaid because you can hear all my lines. Okay, now your last question I have. Take up as much room on the paper as you want, as I want you to draw how it feels to be with that person. All right, that's your warm-up. We're going to move on to writing a little warm-up for the letter. Okay, so you've put your big piece of paper aside. Mine's sitting over there. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to take out this sheet. It says, imagine you have 6 hours to spend together at the top. So that's the sheet I want you to take out. And find a pen. I've got one. I've got a nice little brown one. And I'm going to prompt you through some questions about this person you want to write a letter for. And you're just going to get your pen out and scribble your notes on this piece of paper. This isn't your letter. This is just where you're scribbling down your thoughts. So take your time, and what I'm going to do is I'll ask the question, and I'm also going to tell you a little bit of a story about somebody who I love to kind of help you if you want that help. Feel free to ignore me if you don't need the help. And just hit pause while I talk or while you write until you're ready for the next question. So I'll just hold up a pause sign for you, and you'll see it when you hit pause. Okay. So, I'm going to tell you the trick to writing a love note. Who knew there was a trick? There's a trick to everything. But it's really simple. You just need to be honest and you need to be specific. You're writing something to one person and it's for them and it's about them. And really all you need to do is tell someone you love them and that feels wonderful. It's pretty simple. So, here we go. First question is, imagine you had 6 hours to spend together. What would you do together? Think about what that person would love and be really specific. Really think of them and what they would like. You don't need to be realistic. You can imagine something totally impossible, but wonderful. For example, I would travel with my friend Paul to the 1920s. We go to a little speakeasy. We'd have simple yet delicious Italian food. We'd listen to jazz. I wouldn't make him dance. And we'd have a wonderful time. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to think about something that you know is really hard for the person you love. Imagine taking that thing and getting rid of it for them. How would you get rid of it? Where would you put it? You can be as serious or as funny as you'd like. Just name that thing and invent a way to make it disappear. So for me, for example, I know that my sister cannot keep up with the mountain of laundry in her house. Sorry, Rachel, for telling the entire world. So it's a small thing, but I wish she could be planting tomato seeds and hanging out with her kids and playing. So I wish some underemployed storks would just come and take her laundry away and do it and bring it back so she could enjoy her life. Okay, the next question I want you to think about is this one. What makes this person beautiful to you? I want you to think of that person's heart and body. Say as much or as little as you'd like. And don't forget that being specific is really wonderful. So think specifically about what's beautiful about that person. So my example is my friend Kaz. When she laughs, I feel like I am just swallowed up completely in something so vast and so beautiful. It makes me think about how she looks when she's swimming, when she laughs. I also like how much she loves teal, and she wears a ring on her finger that she lost the stone for. And I like that about her, just that she's able to see how beautiful broken things are. Okay, the next question is, why do you love this person? Again, be specific. I'm going to keep saying that. And don't think about how that person makes you feel. Of course, that's part of why you love them. But make it really about something. Who is this person? What do you love about that person specifically? I'm thinking of my friend Shannon right now, and one of the things there's so many things I love about her, but one of the things I love about her is how good she is at giving advice. She's one of the best listeners I know. She listens without judgment, and I can trust her when I need advice, which is a beautiful thing. She also makes the most delicious food and puts just enough garlic in everything. Okay, so if you could give this person anything in the world, what would you give them? You can be as elaborate or as simple as you like, and it can be as impossible or as real as you'd like. When I think of my mom, who I love very much, I think of how I would love her to love herself as much as I love her and feel the way I feel about her when she's in her own company. All right, this is our last question to prompt you. I want you to think of a beautiful memory you share with this person and think about why that memory stands out for you. Think of a moment that you spent with this person that you really loved and why you loved it. So I'm thinking right now of my friend Lydia, and there was, we were having a party and we were making cinnamon buns and she wasn't there yet. And she opened the door and she came in and she smelled the cinnamon buns and she was just like, and she loved it so much she ran around the whole house smelling the cinnamon buns. And I think when I think of Lydia, I think of that moment because it just is who she is, how much she loves everyone and loves the world and takes the whole thing into her body with so much love and excitement. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I want you to get your big piece of paper back out and put that in front of you. And you've got some other paper that's just regular print size paper. I want you to take one of these and fold it in half. And then go in about, I'll just draw this with a crayon for you. I want you to go in about 1.5 inches from each side and 1 inch up, and you're going to make just a little window by cutting along that line. So I'll just do that a second. Okay, so then what you should have is a window. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be the same size as mine. It just needs to be a little window. And you're going to put that window down on your drawing that you did when you were thinking of all the different motions of the person. And then I'm going to just trace that window on a spot that I find that I like the most. So just look for a place that you really like. It's just going to be abstract, a spot that you like on your big drawing that you're going to make a little piece of art out of. So I'm just going to, for me, I'm just going to trace out that spot. So this is the section that I've chosen that I like. I actually like it in this orientation. So that's what I'm going to make. This is what I'm going to use to make my piece of art. So I just wanted to show you a few examples of different directions you could take with the artwork. So if you only have a pencil or a pen or one marker, you can do what I did here. This is a little bit more of it's just a black and white piece. So I used a heavy marker and I did some dark lines, and then with the pencil I did some cross hatching and shading in a few places. So maybe that's a direction you want to go. With this one, if you have some paint lying around and any kind of paper will work too. I just use some regular Bristol board paper. Watercolor paper, if you have that, would probably be wonderful with watercolor paints, but use whatever paint you have. And I first painted the lines in pink, and then I filled them in yellow, so you can use whatever colors you want, but you could get that kind of effect. And another possibility is I just went in and where should I talk? I could talk here. So what I did was I went and I cut out the hole where I had traced my orange square, and I took that piece and I taped it to another piece of paper and I colored it in, and this one I just colored in with crayons. So you could do this with markers, with crayons, with anything you've got around. And that's it. Okay, now you're going to write your letter. So what you need is you need to find this printout, which you got from my website. It has the word dear at the top and date and a whole lot of dotted lines and some prompts with sentences. So this part's fairly simple. What you're going to do is take your first set of prompts where I asked you all the questions, and everything that you need to write your letter is in here where you brainstormed. So you're just going to sit down with this and fill in the blanks and take your time doing that and get to the end, sign your name, and then if you want to be like me, what you can do is then handwrite the whole thing on a piece of paper. So I took my rough draft and then I turned it into a letter. All right, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I hope you're happy with what you have in front of you. And I know that the person who receives your letter is going to be so grateful for it. You can read it to them over the phone. You can, I don't know, share it however you want. FaceTime, picture of it in an email. And what you should have will be a letter that's your own words and a piece of art that you made, and hopefully some time well spent with me. Thank you very much, and take good care of yourself.